Nature and history intertwine at Perryville Battlefield State Historic Site in Boyle County, where one of the fiercest battles of the Civil War was fought on October 8, 1862. Over 150 years later, butterflies dance on the morning breeze. Conservation and preservation combine to play host to an important site for the annual monarch butterfly migration to Mexico.
Today we're at Perryville and we are tagging monarchs, attempting to catch monarchs and tag them. This is so that when these monarchs make their migration to Mexico, they can be identified and we can collect that data to see which individual monarchs survived the journey. The tags are labeled with information that tells us what state they came from, and we have that data that we recorded that tells us the sex, who was involved in the tagging, where specifically in the state it was tagged. And that way, when they're recollected, all of that data can be recovered. And it gives us more information on where monarchs are making the journey from, how they're surviving, which types of monarchs are surviving in terms of males versus female, locality data, that sort of thing. So this is a Gulf fritillary.
Perryville is a really unique place because of its preservation of the battlefield and also the biodiversity of the grasslands and the species that inhabit it. So this is a really fantastic place in normal, non-drought conditions for monarch butterflies. Right now, the last generation of monarchs for the summer are making their giant migration down to Mexico to overwinter. Those monarchs will stay there through the winter and then return next summer to reproduce and lay eggs. And this is one of the largest continuous grassland habitats left here in Kentucky, so it provides a lot of pollinator food and habitat. So the monarchs like to stop and rest here and nectar and re-energize on their way to Mexico.
Got it! Almost died, but I got it. There are several reasons we may have only caught 2 monarchs today. The most obvious reason is the drought that we're experiencing in Kentucky. Conditions today were just not right. That's my opinion. Due to the drought conditions, the flowers are dry. I think that nectar production is at a low, and the monarchs are probably just passing through and not finding much here in terms of nectar resources and moving through and continuing their journey south.
Or girl, it's a girl.
We need places like Perryville because it's really an intersection of cultural history and natural history, and on top of that, it's open to the public. You know, looking around us today, we see monarchs, we see all sorts of butterflies, we see habitat, pollinator planting, birds flying, all sorts of insects in the background, but we also see families, we see kids playing at the playground, we see all sorts of people out and about, picnic shelters, places where people can spend time out in nature, trails everywhere. And we need places like Perryville because it's a place where people can get out and learn about what we have in our state, the resources that we have here in terms of biodiversity and also our own history. So it's really important that we preserve places like this. It's always special to bring kids out for events like this just to see their eyes light up when they see something they've never seen before. And that moment for me where it really clicks with them that bugs are animals too, that's always a really special moment for me. My experience with kids and insects is always that most kids love bugs until someone makes them feel like they shouldn't, until someone makes them feel like there's something icky or creepy about bugs. Most kids really like bugs and they think it's really cool. And so I love watching that moment where kids kind of make that connection of like, whoa, this is an animal too, and it doesn't have to be fluffy and furry, or it doesn't have to be, you know, it's not just the kind of animals we normally think about, or, you know, this butterfly is a critter too, and it's cool and fun too. So that's always a really special moment for me.